cryptocurrencies because they can be used for illegal transactions.
Yeah, I'm all for any form of money that anybody wants to use. And ideally, I'd like to get government out of the money business. Just like we used to have church and state were once together. We wouldn't be able to have this meeting without officials from the church hundreds of years ago. And we should get government out of the money business. We can separate money just like we separated church and state. We can separate money and state. Because government doesn't need to be in the money business. We don't need politicians to tell us what money is. Throughout human history, for thousands of years, whether it's gold or silver or Bitcoin. And the fact is that our money right now is broken. Politicians broke it. They have unlimited money that they can print from thin air without accountability. And that is now competing against an asset like Bitcoin, which is limited in supply, limited to 21 million coins, not be printed from thin air. So the money is broken, and politicians broke it, and everybody should have the freedom to money.
Politicians need to get out of the money game.
Bitcoin. I recommend other people choose something else as well, because the dollar is a melting ice cube.
Senator Morse?
Wow.
He said the dollar is a melting ice cube.
Man, everything he said right there was like, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, when you look at Bitcoin and you know, you got a lot of, you know, conversation around cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff like that, and it being decentralized and, you know, it needs regulations and it needs all that. But the point of the matter is it's the future, you know, and what he just said is, man, he was spot on. You know, he's like, nobody had to tell people back in the day what money was.
Right.
So they used gold, they used silver, and everybody knew what it was, you know?
Yep.
So,
true.
man, those, and when you look at a currency, let's talk about the dollar, because that's where we live in America and we use the dollar. And a lot of people around the world use the dollar. It's a depreciating asset. It's a means of transaction, basically, right? So you want to take that and you want to put it in something else. You want to use it to transact to get something else.
Right.
I heard a guy named Ron Barron. He's a multi-billion-dollar investor, and he made a statement about. Basically, he was talking about inflation, and he was talking about, you know, the economy and just how things, you know, just the market, how it's down now and stuff like that. And he was saying, hey, this stuff is engineered, man. He said, this stuff this is cycles. This is stuff that it just happens like this all the time.
I agree with that.
You know, and he's like, so, you know, you just want to buy good assets. He's like, stop worrying about, you know, the inflation. He said, we're always gonna have inflation. Yeah. The market being down. Hey, this is the bet. That means everything's on sale. Yeah. So, and I look at that and I say, okay, we got the dollar and it's depreciating. And if a couple other countries get together and they want to make a new world currency, because the dollar is the world's currency right now, right? So they want to make a new currency that dominates. Guess what? Guess what happens to the dollar then? It becomes worth a lot less than it is now, right? Yeah. So your buying power becomes less. Everything starts to depreciate because you're holding those notes.
Right. The paper dollar that's just being printed.
Yeah.
So what do you think people should invest their money in? How to make that make sense, man? Like if a lot of people are holding on to cash right now, they're thinking the value is in the cash. How do they make those type of investments into businesses? What do you think they should gauge their investments off of?
Well, what you got to understand is, you know, that money is a means of transaction. So you have to take that and buy assets.
What type of assets? What should they take into consideration?
I think a balanced household, or just say it, just a regular household. I think you should buy a little gold. I think you should buy a little silver.
And the reason being is because it's universal.
It's universal.
It can go to different countries.
Just like he said, everybody know what gold is. Everybody knows what silver. No matter where you go in the world, if you pull out some gold, guess what? You're on and popping. Yeah. You know?
That's true. That's true. So you're trying to say, like, we can use that same concept and invest in companies that work globally as well.
Exactly.
Because if you have a US dollar that's only valuable in the US, what if you're investing in companies that have value across the globe?
Exactly. And that's the most important thing about buying stocks, about investing. When you buy a stock, You're buying ownership in the company. That's what you're doing. You're saying, I believe in this company. I want to be a owner, and you have a percentage of ownership. The more you buy, the bigger the percentage you have, right? So now you're attached to this asset, which is bringing in billions of dollars. Look at Microsoft. It's a global company.
Yeah.
Countries all over the world use Microsoft products. Facebook is everywhere in the world. Like all the countries in the world pretty much use
just because
Facebook.
the US dollar may go down, another currency's value may go up in value. And as long as you're invested in that company using your US dollar,
Exactly.
you've monetized
Guess what? Yeah.
your money.
So if you say, if I have,
You're making your
if I
money
got,
work for you.
if I have $100,000 in the bank, and you know something happens, inflation and this and that and the other, well, that 100,000 is now only worth 80, right? But
if you would have took that,
if I had that
$20,000
$100,000 in Microsoft,
right.
what usually happens is,
Even if the stock goes down, you still have shares and ownership of the company when it goes up, back
it's
up.
going to go up. It's going to go up. Go back and look at the stock market over history. Look over the last 100 years. What you're going to see is you're going to see times where it took a dip, where it took a, and when you look at the big picture, it's a blip on the radar.
Yeah.
Because the trajectory of the stock market is up. You think the people back when they were looking at the Dow, back when it was 10,000 or when it was 5,000, was like, oh man, you know, that was an all-time high. Oh man, it can't go more than 5,000, you know, and then it hit 10,000. And the people who weren't buying at 5,000 was looking at 10,000 like, dang, I should have bought at 5,000. Now it's 10,000. And then they look at it like, okay, the market always outpace inflation. Always. Over time, it's just going to outpace it. So you look at it when it was 10,000, you say, man, there's no way it's going higher than 10,000. And then you looked and it was 15. And all the people who looked at it when it was 10 saying it was too high, they looking at it as 15 like, dang, I should have got it at 10. You know? And then you could just say, what is it, 30 something, 40, I don't know. You know, so you have to look at it from that lens. You have to back up and look at the big picture and say, what is this? What has this thing done over time? And what has the dollar done over time? And what you will see is a vast, stark difference in what you would have been able to attain if you had invested that dollar into companies and let them use your dollars to grow that business and make more money and more revenue. And guess what they're going to do? Their stock is not only going to go up, they're going to start kicking you back a dividend.
Right.
You see? So that money starts working for you and making you money. So you got to let the fear get behind you, and you have to start thinking logically and rationally about the process and how it works.
Yeah.
And once you get that down, then you'll be able to do it.
Yeah. Man, what an awesome show. What an awesome podcast, awesome content.
He said some big things there, man.
Yeah. Key points here. Definitely follow us on Instagram. I'm telling you, you won't want to miss out on this. So till next time, Prospector Investments.